my name is Prachi Shah. I am the student of critical thinking and I am pursuing BBA from Ahmedabad University. So today the point of discussion is fallacy. As many of us don't know what does fallacy mean. So today in this video I am going to tell you what does fallacy actually means. I am going to explain the concept of fallacy and thereby we are going to learn one type of the fallacy also. So let us begin. So what does a fallacy actually mean? A fallacy actually means the mistakes of reasoning. The fallacy simply means the error of the reasoning. Many people understand fallacy as a mistaken belief, and yes, fallacy leads to the mistaken belief also. Fallacy is also known as the bad arguments. Hereby I am going to give two examples on which we can learn what fallacy actually means. The example will make us understand clearly what the fallacy is. The first example is, suppose the faculty told me to count how many students is there in the room. I counted that there were 30 students present in the room, whereas the fact was there was 32 students present in the room. Therefore, the error which I made is known as a factual error. The second example is that if I believe that there are square triangles, therefore my belief is inconsistent. So in both the case, in case 1 and in case 2, in both the case, what error I made is an error which are such an error which is known as fallacy. Thus, fallacy is something which is made due to mistakes of reasoning. So now as we are clear with the explanation of fallacy, let us move to the type of fallacy. There are many types of a fallacy, but here we are going to learn one of the type of the fallacy. Here I am going to start with the fallacy known as appeal to ignorance. The fallacy appeal to ignorance is also known as the fallacy of argument ad ignorantium. They both means the same. What does this fallacy mean? This fallacy means that when the arguer asserts that the claim must be true because no one has proven it to be a false, or the claim must be false because no one has proven it to be true. Therefore, hence, when we describe someone as an ignorant, we often mean it as an insult. Here, we use it to describe the situation in which we don't know something. Thus, the fallacy appeal to ignorance basically states that a specific belief is true because we don't know that isn't true. We can see it either way. We can say that the appeal to ignorance also state the belief that the statement is false because we don't know that the statement is correctively true. Now it is quite confusing. So let us take some example to make it more clear. I am stating one example, and we'll take this example from both the sides. And see what does this fallacy actually mean. Listen to this example carefully because it's quite confusing. The example says that there must be an intelligent life on the other planet. The example says that there must be an intelligent life on the other planet. We are assuming that there must be an intelligent planet on the other planet. The same example we are taking in the another way, and that is there isn't an intelligent life on the other planet. First we told that there must be an intelligent life on the other planet. Now we are saying that there isn't an intelligent life on the other planet. So as we don't know that there is or there isn't, we can assume both that there can be and there cannot be. There cannot be, because the statement is not proven to be true or neither it is proven to be false. We can assume it either way. This is what known as appeal to ignorance. Now, appeal to ignorance has so many different kind of examples. So hereby I am going to give you 5 to 6 examples which will make you more clearer about appeal to ignorance. The first example which I said, the reason behind taking this example is that both the claim assume that lack of evidence for the claim is a good reason to believe that a claim is false, because both the claims are not proven to be true. So we assume that there is a lack of evidence under that, and which is a good reason for us to believe that a claim is false. The ignorance in this sense of lack of knowledge features as a part of a proof of the conclusion. But in general, their facts that claim has not yet been proven is not enough reason to find the claim is false. Now I'm going to give one more example. The example goes like this way. The example goes like this way. Suppose there are two cases running in the court. Mr. A case was handled by a lawyer, and Mr. B was fighting his own case. Suppose the lawyer was not able to prove Mr. A innocent. Suppose the lawyer was not able to prove Mr. A innocent. So the judge believed that though the Mr. A was not able to, Mr. A's lawyer is not able to prove his innocence, the judge assumed that Mr. B is guilty. And because he was not able to prove, he believed that another party is guilty. So this clearly states that this is a clear example of appeal to ignorance. Because he was not able to prove, he assumes that he is guilty. Now we are going to have one more example. The example goes like this. For instance, faculty explains all the concept in the class clearly to everyone. After finishing the topic or after finishing the lecture, he or she asks the student whether they understood every concept or not. None of the students replied, or none of the students gave any answer. So the faculty assumed that everyone has learned the concept. So this is also part of appeal to ignorance. The next example goes like this. Scientists are not able to prove whether living things can be born from non-living things. So non-living things can't be living. Because scientists are not able to prove, we assume that non-living thing cannot live. The third example goes in this way. Faculty, for instance, finds a proxy in the class. He does not know who have done it. He asks students to make a point, but none of the students say anything, and so he assumes that his best friend might have done it, and so he reduces the proxy of his friend. This is also based on assumption. So we can say that anything based on assumption is a part of appeal to ignorance. As seeing more and more example, we came to understand that this concept is mostly connected or interlinked with assumptions. Now we are having one more example. The example goes like this. Suppose Rita and Meena are two girls and they had a fight. Right? Seema went to a teacher and complained her. Teacher asked the reason behind the fight and also stated that whosoever from you both will prove me you're innocent, I will found her to be an innocent and would not punish her. So Meera was able to prove herself, and teacher found her to be innocent. Though Rita was innocent, but she wasn't able to prove herself. Teacher believed that Meera is innocent, and so she is found to be guilty, and teacher punished Rita. So this is also the part of appeal to ignorance, because the teacher assumes that because Meera proved herself, she is innocent, right? So it goes like this way. The next example is that nobody is able to prove that there are aliens. So we assume that aliens do not exist. The same example goes like this also. Nobody is able to prove whether God exists or not, and so we assume that God doesn't exist. This all type of things. all the examples and all the things goes with appeal to ignorance. This all the examples which we took are clearly based on assumption. So we can clearly say that when anyone wants to know what will appeal to ignorance mean, we can say anything which is clearly made on the assumption is considered as appeal to ignorance. Also, we can look it in the same way that if the claim is true, but the claim is not proved to be a true, then we can assume that it might be false. Either way, we can say that if someone claim that this thing is true, but he haven't give any proof for that thing, then we can assume it can be false also. So appeal to ignorance fallacy means this thing. So hereby I have explained you the meaning of fallacies and the meaning of. So here I am going to write all the things which we learned in this video, so that we can revise each and everything once again, and it will make us clear. It will make us more clear. So first of all, we learned what does a fallacy mean. So what does a fallacy mean? So we learned that a fallacy means mistakes of reasoning. We learned that a fallacy is an error of reasoning. We learned that a fallacy is a mistaken belief. We also saw that fallacy leads to a bad argument. I am making the head point of what we understood from this video. So we understand the meaning of the word fallacy by these 4 head points. They are, we learned that a fallacy is a mistake of reasoning. We learned that a fallacy is simply an error of reasoning. We also learned that fallacy leads to a mistaken belief as well as a bad argument. Further, we studied the concept of appeal to ignorance. Now the appeal to ignorance, also known as the argument ad ignorantium. The appeal to ignorance means that when the arguer asserts that the claim must be true because no one has proven it to be false. We saw that if the arguer says that the claim must be true because no one proven it to be wrong, or we can see it from either side, that a claim must be false because no one has proven it to be true. So we can say it vice versa, that true is equal to false and false is equal to true. We also learned that the appeal to ignorance leads to assumption. We saw in most of the example that the appeal to ignorance is a part of assumption. So assumption and this appeal to ignorance fallacy is interrelated. We also saw that this fallacy is very fallacious in nature, because we say that someone is not able to prove the thing, therefore we can assume it can be right or it can be wrong. So we can say it clearly that appeal to ignorance states that a specific belief is true because we don't know that belief isn't true. So most of the people claim this appeal to ignorant fallacy like this way because no one is able to prove that thing, so they assume it to be right. The most funny example is that no one is able to prove that God doesn't exist, so we believe or we assume that God doesn't exist. Also, there are so many people who believe God exists. we can also say that God exists, because no one is able to prove that he doesn't. So it means that it can exist or it cannot be exist. So it goes hand in hand. So this is the actual meaning of appeal to ignorance and fallacy. So thank you everyone. I hope so that what you want to learn from this video, you can learn, you have learned it. And if you have any more queries, you can drop a comment below, and I will if I will able to answer, I will sure answer you. And if you have any more queries or appeal to ignorance or any type of or a fallacy, then you can also comment me regarding this fallacy. I will definitely answer you and try to clear all your doubts. Thank you.